Hello everyone, welcome to my online lesson about optimizing training. Today we're going to look at the things we need to consider when devising a training program, which in turn should optimize training and subsequently improve performance. So when optimizing training crops up in your GCSE exam, what they'll be referring to is frequency, intensity, time, and type. An easy mnemonic to remember this by is FITT. Now what we're going to do over the next couple of slides is go over frequency, intensity, time, and type at greater detail. Firstly, we're going to look at frequency of training, which basically means how many times a week do you train. Now, quite often you'll hear the more you train, the better, but this isn't always the case. If you've recently come back from injury or you're particularly unfit, perhaps you only want to train 2-3 times a week. This will allow your body time to recover from training. But as you get fitter, you probably want to increase the frequency of the amount of times you're training. So you go from 3 sessions a week to 4. Now, as your body gets fitter, your body should be able to increase the frequency of what you're training to the point that you are training at 6 or 7 times a week. Next is intensity, which means how hard do you train. Now, if you train a lot, but you only train at 20 or 30% of your maximum effort, you're probably not going to see positive results very quickly. Whereas if you train at 70 or 80% of your maximum effort, you're going to see those positive results very quickly. So the essence of intensity is at what level of intensity are you training at? And the harder you train, the more positive results you'll get quicker. Now, what I want you to do is watch a video of Brad Thorne, who is an ex-rugby union player who's won the World Cup several times. And I just want you to focus on the level of intensity he uses when he trains. Next is time, which means how long do you train for? So an example of this is if you just started jogging recently, perhaps you want to start off with a 30-minute jog. Now, as you get fitter, you want to start to increase the amount of time you jog for. So perhaps you go up to 35 minutes and then next you go up to 40. So you're slowly trying to increase the amount of time that you exercise for. Now, this also applies in the weights room or the sports field as well. So for example, if you go to the weights room a lot, perhaps you start off with a 45-minute weight session. After a few weeks, you increase it up to 50-minute weight sessions. So once again, you're slowly trying to increase the amount of time you spend exercising. Lastly is type. Now, type of training means that you are training specifically for the sport or activity that you participate in. So, for example, if you're a 100-meter sprinter, you wouldn't really do a lot of long distance running. Similarly, if you are a winger in football and you rely on your speed to get past defenders, you perhaps wouldn't spend a lot of time down the weights room lifting weights and trying to build muscle. So the notion of type means that you are training specifically for the sport and activity that you participate and not doing exercises or training that doesn't relate to your sport or activity. Little activity before we go. Next time you're at training and you're finished and you're walking home or getting the bus home or whatever, can you put a number on the level of effort that you put into that session or a level of perceived exertion? So 10 would be the maximum effort. You can't give much more than that. And 1 would be minimal effort, very light activity. And then obviously you have a scale in between those two numbers. So when you're walking home, can you put a number on the level of exertion you put into that session? That is the end of today's online lesson, and I hope to see you next time.